Hey, how's it going out there? Welcome to the show. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Got a good one lined up for you today. Bones, how's it going out there to the panel? Who we got?
Good to be here. Everyone in live.
Hello, guys. Good evening. Yeah?
Yeah, got you. Loud and clear.
All good.
Yep.
Ballbusters.
You're welcome.
How about me, boss?
Oh, God.
Oh, Neil, your sound is just great.
I'm on the highway. I'm on the road trip. So I'll go on mute.
Thank you. I would just have to say that the timing of Ballbusters today was absolutely spot on. At 2 o'clock, soon as that atomic clock hit 2, bam, bam, it was on, man. That was the best timing I've ever had. Of course, it came at the cost of snuffing out a conversation in midstream.
Oh, me too. I was hanging in the chill lounge and somebody got really triggered. But yeah, then Ballbusters went live, so.
Yeah. I've been getting a little bit of flack about just being a little bit off timing, just by some seconds and stuff. But I'll go back and look at it again after the show's over today. But I think I was right on. It was balls on. But we had to make some sacrifices. Yeah. So, what's going on out there, guys? What's new?
Mark Sargent had a bucket load of guideline strikes on his channel.
No way.
And, yeah, to put it in his words, waiting for the axe to currently
Damn, really?
not actually had it shut down yet. What he told me.
What did he do?
A load of stuff about the CDC.
Ooh.
They're a little bit hypersensitive about that these days, eh?
Mess with any magic trick that's current. While they're waving the wand, if you try and grab their hand, they'll shut you down.
That's unfortunate, but they put the warnings out there, haven't they?
Say warnings. I mean, examples of other people who had their channels taken away from them. Exactly that.
More or less, yes.
Yeah. Say so.
They should be a little bit more, how would you say, efficient, and maybe it's too much work to go ahead and put out like that YouTube I'm talking about, like to put out, no-goes, what you should or should not discuss. You have a list like that?
Called the community guidelines.
Yep.
And they tell you what you can't talk about. Well, they don't phrase it the way I phrase it. Don't mess with the current magic trick. What they say.
Right. Yep. I think I'm safe. Sorry about that, Mark.
Same here. If there's anything I can do, Mark, I know I've said that already, but let me know.
And not having Mark Sargent on would be problematic. It would be, how would you say, it just wouldn't be right.
Won't vanish even current YouTube channel. Name Mark Sargent is birth. For he to set up a new channel named Sargent Show. Sure, it would do very well very quickly. From that perspective, I'm sure Matt will bounce back. Uses to. I hope he does.
And he said it was only a matter of time.
He phrased it, I'm just waiting for the axe to fall. How he said it.
I got you. Okay.
Not good.
Evening, guys. Sorry, I'm running late.
Wow, everyone's
Hey,
hot.
Adam.
No, I've had to be provider this evening, John. Marie's gone out, so I've had to do the tea for the kids, and the takeaway was late, so I apologise.
Let me hook you up. That's all. You're fine. It's not anything out of the ordinary, Adam. It's not like, well, this is the first time you're late.
I know, but I'm still only just the food's only just arrived, so apologies.
It's called fashionably late.
No worries. I'm getting my usual.
I'm
My
excited
quality-
about this one. I'm excited
Back
about
my
bones.
quality.
You see my request, John?
Your request. And where'd you put your request?
Right, timestamped just a little bit of a video for later.
Oh, no, I didn't see your request in Skype. No, and my policy is no playing videos. Except if they're mine.
That's that ruined them.
Yeah, because the last time I pulled that routine of playing one of your videos, guess what happened?
Well, taking a wild stab in the dark, which is probably what you wanted to give me afterwards. A strike.
I didn't get striked. I just got demonetized.
Couldn't even mirror the one on Ballbusters. Couldn't download it. It wouldn't allow me because it had music. Thanks, chocolate.
Yeah. yes. Yeah. I was getting that feeling, but I said, okay, it's chocolate. It's Adam. What could go wrong?
I still tell them to get lost, even if they're my friends. Get lost. I'm not playing it. No.
I went against my policy. Yeah, Rob, I just got your message. Yeah, Mike Discipline, I got you. I get my usual Rob Keen message. Hey, take me off mute. So you better be good. But back to the topic. Yeah,
I come in and train wreck the whole show.
Yeah. Right. It was so funny because as soon as you said, "Hey, I got that video for you," and chocolates in it, I had that immediate gut reaction. More or less, I hear Nathan in the back of my head saying, "Don't do it," right? And I said, I might be able to get away with it. It seems that you guys have run this on your channels. Other people have run it, no problems. And it was almost immediate. Right? I get an immediate message. Demonetized video. Don't worry, it's not a copyright strike, but yeah, you're demonetized. Thanks, Adam.
We should challenge that because when we first put it on my channel, it got the same thing, and I challenged it, and now it's back up and not. So we just challenge it, and I'll the fact that it comes from my channel. It's worth addressing.
Great. That sounds like my idea of a great Sunday. That does right there.
There you go.
So something similar, if we could talk, it's shop talk a little bit, but it's sort of interesting. Now on the video, I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to play the audio later, but on, Miles and the fossilized brain tissue and stuff, I had some 60-minute interviews on there. And while I was making it, I said, I'll go ahead and I'm sure they're going to not monetize this video. I'll just take the hit. I don't care because I want to get by with the substance of the video. And so I uploaded it, and when you can't monetize this video. I just got the warning. I didn't get the whole spiel. So I said, yeah, I figured that. And I went and did something else, and I came back and I said, let me touch on this. I hit it, and it if you have a YouTube channel, you ever done this before, it has the section where there's the problem area. There's copyright. And I'm looking down, and it's later on in the video. I'm sitting there, wait a second. I thought this was going to be a 60 minutes issue, right? It wasn't. It was the applause sound effect. Somebody in China has a copyright on just general applause. That's what it was. I said, I was beside myself. I said, you got to be kidding me. So all I did is I just went back into the audio, deleted the applause, and just put another applause sound effect in. So that's how it went. A lot of people got a pretty good kick out of that one. It's a good thing I checked because I was just going to dismiss it and say, yeah, 60 minutes, got it. I'll take the hit. But if I didn't look at it, right? You guys follow me?
The version that we all mirrored, not the one with the strike. Then I haven't had.
No, I changed it before I uploaded because I uploaded the video 2 days before, right? But I didn't.
You did it in the method that I said, so that if it has a problem,
Yes.
you can verify. Wait, gotcha.
Yes. Yep. On questionable ones now, I'll go ahead and upload them a couple days before. It doesn't matter. I could do it the day before. It's going to come with an immediate, right? It's going to say it's immediate. This video can't be monetized. So I was expecting it because of the 60 minutes, but like I said, it was general applause. I said, give me a break. It's just applause. How can you copyright applause? I don't know.
Anything.
Whatever they want. No.
Yep. So yeah, you won't get any copyright.
You're using it, so will other people be. That's why, and it can make them money. That's why.
So general
just read.
Yeah, I think they got some. Yeah, I don't understand it, but I can understand how that could get caught up in the wash when it's ridiculous. I'm sure they got bigger fish to fry though.
So is today's episode going to be about bones?
Bones.
The dinosaurs and how they were died?
Yeah, they were died, weren't they? Yes, it is. Like I was talking about a few weeks before, I decided to camp out on topics. I think it's better that way. Seems like the uptake of information with some is a little difficult. And I can understand that. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I just decided to camp out on topics now. How you like that policy? Well, good. Thank you.
Worries.
Go ahead.
It's all good. I said, don't worry about it. I like camping out on topics.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Come on.
We are doing it. That's what this is. We're camping out on it.
Got a quick question for you.
Okay.
If you've got a bone, don't say bones 5 times. If you've got a bone that was obviously at some point in an animal or living. Yeah.
Yep.
Same as a fossil.
No. Nope. Bones are bones and fossils and fossils. Never the twain shall meet.
What about when you have a bone to pick with somebody?
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Well, you got to get to the marrow.
Good point.
Is that the end? Was that it for the question?
It's just I was going to elaborate a little bit and start talking about the transition between the two, and think it to being a bit like phase changes and saying there's a grey area. Have you shoot me down just for fun? But I've decided again.
Yeah, there isn't. Bones are bones, and like I said, fossils are fossils. Fossilization, secondary mineralization, and permineralization. That's where you get metals like silica, iron, other things replacing what was there initially. Right?
Mineral replacement.
That's what it is. Mineral replacement. Yes. Yep.
I understood it as a kind of a flushing through process, the way it was described, as opposed to a crust formation. That makes sense. So that
No, that's some English. No, I need a translator. Say that one more time.
So there is some kind of mineralized tissue, the matter on the outside. Yeah. As soon as we get past that tiny little bit, I'm looking at some of Mary Schweitzer's excuses. But there's that initial bit which looks key. But as soon as we go past the small area, suddenly we've got this whole new explanation as to how and why it got there. From my understanding, initially the way in which the fossil forms is a flushing through of all that matter as it and a replacement with minerals,
Yes.
not a crust formation, a protective egg.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Your first one, the former, was correct.
Right. So could potentially a piece of flesh in some circumstances be partially fossilized and part of it within the fossilization situation not fossil, still remain as it is? Would that be technically possible?
I don't.
Answer.
Go ahead, Nathan.
I'm going to say no, just based on the paradigm that QE is taking apart. Based on their timelines for fossilization to occur, I'm going to say no, just based on what they say fossilization is. It's too extensive for any living material to survive.
Yeah. No. You may have part of the bone fossilized, right, and the other part of the bone not. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's not what he's asking. He's asking
Okay.
if you can have half a bone, living tissue, normal, not living material that was once living, not decayed, half of it turned to rock. Speak. Half bone, half rock. That's what he's saying.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be hard pressed to find something like that.
You might. I'm not saying you wouldn't find it, but what I'm saying is, based on what they say for holding when you hold a fossil, is not possible.
Right. Because what I got out of it is that once some object is being subjected to a fossilization condition, then it all fossilizes, all of it. Like once that process engages, there's no reason for any of it to not fossilize. It just goes through and through.
Correct. But further to that, let's say you had a bone that was sticking out the side of a cliff. The conditions where the bone was buried were, along their description of what fossilization requires, conducive for half the bone that was underneath the ground, not sticking out, to fossilize. The rest would just disappear. Wouldn't just be the case that you'd have half a bone sticking out the side of a cliff with the other half turned to a fossil inside the cliff. That's never going to happen.
Well, that would be very weird circumstances, and yeah, it would have had to been extremely rapid petrification, like really standing in a puddle and suddenly your foot just turns to stone or something, right?
This is a grey area, but so this is where you start getting into the area where you start explaining double causes of what Mary's rights are exhibited, exposed. Well, are you charged with that? Well, no. Are you creating a paradigm based around this stuff? No. Yeah, you could potentially offer explanations, or I could start justifying my whys, wherefores, and reasoning should someone find something that I've just described as not being possible in their paradigm. Well, in their paradigm apart, it matters not what might be found subsequently to that if you've not made any claims about it. Don't burden yourself with it, is what I would say. Concern yourself with what they say it is and what it definitely isn't based on what they've shown us themselves.
Right.
That's good advice. I'm just saying it is an interesting idea. Like, would it be possible in some way, in some circumstances? Definitely not suggesting that is what happened in their specific case.
Yes,
right?
correct. I got you, Arwen. I'm following you with that. Yeah, that has nothing to do with Mary Schweitzer's case at all. Yep. Hey, shout out to Retro Bill. He says, get out the Louisville Slugger, grab the spade shovel, start hammering the C4, and watch out for those bouncing betties. That's a pretty good summary, man. Thanks. Yeah. I like it.
Arwen's right. It is interesting, and we have discussed it. You and I personally, Arwen, on one of the Flat Earth debates, did discuss this. We got into all sorts of things about pyroclastic flows and great mud flood and great biblical flood and all those sorts of things got discussed. It is fascinating. Contextually, in terms of what QE has done, it's taking apart a paradigm and what they say their paradigm is and what it needs. Things out there like Mary Schweitzer has shown that do not comport with that at all.
And fossilization.
It almost seems like they're pushing it constantly, you know? and this is so typical NASA now. This is the pattern that I get out of it. They're always pushing what is plausible reality. Right? They're always pushing the edge. Whenever they present something, it's always like off in some way. Just seeing if you'll get along with it. That's the feel that I get of it. A lot of it.
The fossilization process can also happen very, very quickly. I mean, I've seen fossilized hats, fossilized toys, right? So this process can happen quite quickly.
Can I add something in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just like, we also know about petrification. Maybe some people like myself confuse fossilization with petrification.
It's the same. It's the same, only a degree higher. It's permineralization. That is secondarily mineralized. That's petrification. You're real close.
So is that what happened to ballers? Their brains became petrified?
Yeah, it's fossilized brain tissue, like I said, man.
Which one does Medusa do?
Say again?
Which one does Medusa do? You look at the woman with the snake heads and you turn to stone, right?
Yeah, that's full petrification. I had a potato one time.
One hell of an acidic look.
There was a potato I had one time when I was a kid. My grandfather found it. And I'll tell you what. I said, wait, is this a rock? Nope, it was a potato. Fully petrified.
I find that oxygen, specific oxygen deprivation is key part of the chemistry of what causes petrification. So I guess that Medusa's gaze was very oxygen depriving.
1 second. Like I said, when I first come out here, I was running into, because this was a pretty hot topic when I first come out here, and I was running into more or less the biofilm. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, or they were trying to explain away Mary's fossils, or I'm sorry, bones, by the biofilm, and I was like, what? And then I started looking into it. It seemed Mary got pretty pissed at that. Just from the papers that I was looking at. I mean, even in the secular literature, you could tell she was a little pissed that people would try that nonsense on her. That quickly went away.
She's looking at cells, looking at real tissue. An idiot. She knows what she's looking at. So to then be told it's like sort of toxic sludge. You're like, no, that's not what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? I'm not stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You got it. Yeah. Yeah. And then I was looking at, remember I made a mention of, there was a guy in Denver. He has a radio show. I think it was KGov. Really popular. A lot of people Lawrence Krauss used to go on there. A lot of the bigwigs would go on there. And he contacted the guy I can't remember his name. And I was thinking about playing the video, but that goes against my policy because I don't want to play that game anymore. But somebody asked, I think it was Betty who asked me after the show, and we went and watched it, and she was just laughing at it because he offered the Denver Bible Church guy had raised $20,000 and called Jack Horner. I guess you could call him the co-founder. And he was on a telephone conversation. And he said the Denver Bible guy was just I'm going to give you this grant. We're going to write up the paperwork, and we're just going to send you $20,000. Right? And he said, "Go ahead. We want it not carbon dated, just to check and see if C14." I don't think Jack even realized what he was asking for. And I think Jack was taking it like we want it carbon dated. No, that's not it. We just want to know if there's C14 in there, because if there's any C14 in the tissues, the jig's up, right? And I don't even know if Jack was playing ignorant. I can't tell. I can't read his mind. I just go by his reactions. But he was trying to get out of it and trying to. I don't want to say sound condescending, but the guy raised the ante. He goes, "Listen, I'll give you more. We'll give you $25,000 if the test, if it doesn't cost that much, you can just keep the rest. It's no problem. With just a grant to the Museum of the Rockies, I think it was." And the last part of the conversation, Jack said, "Well, I have to talk to Mary," and that was it. That was about 12 years ago, and they didn't take the grant. It's no problem, Jack. There's been soft tissue found by the metric tons, and a lot of it, they found C14. So jig's up. It's over. Oh, super chat. Hey, James Mays. Thanks, man. Hello to the panel. I'm here. Enjoy the show, folks. Thank you, James. Appreciate it, sir. I was too busy talking and not watching.
There's going to be a fairly substantial audience of flat earthers, last globe heads as well, that may not appreciate why you've dropped down here. Don't appreciate the connection between here and call them ecotards.
Mm-hmm.
Detail that's connected.
Yeah.
Audience who may not have an appreciation, have a thorough appreciation why we've dropped anchor.
Yeah, well, it's all connected, and it's connected by the lips, more or less. Now, there's a lot of branches that go off, but mainly to the long age brigade, right? They need long ages in the heliocentric ball-tard spinning space monkey. That monkey part, this is connected too. But the key part of this is the long ages. They must have those long periods of time, because if they don't have those long ages, evotards go by the wayside. Of course, they're already by the wayside anyway, just with simple coherency. But anyway, for the Kant-Fogg-Amir masses, those long ages just crush the heliocentric model. To keep it short, how about that?
In billions of years.
Yes.
Billions. What's his name again?
Carl Sagan.
Yeah, that guy. Billions.
Yeah, to keep it short, Nathan, I could go on and on for about an hour. But I think that summarizes it.
Right, and evolution, it requires all that extra time because it's so dependent on flukes, random mutations. Eventually, somehow, lead to that evolved form. So many different evolutions. That's why they need virtually that insane amount.
Evolution, what's that?
Null sequence specified complexity.
No, they think they need that amount of time for their fairy tale story. In actuality, the long ages goes against their story in a twisted fate of irony.
I got one more.
What's that?
The problem is a lot of these people don't understand the difference between evolution and adaptation.
Oh, here we go. Evolution? Well, you'd have to define evolution first, right?
No, I agree, but they think that adaptation is evolution.
I don't know what they think. Who are they?
You're missing what he's saying. What's evolution?
Your evotard.
Adaptation. Adaptation is a change within the gene spectrum. Just adaptation. Within nothing changes, right? Evolution is supposed to be a transition between one species and
Oh, no, it's not. Citation, please. No, it's not. Soon as you conjure up species, the taxonomic classification system, your whole point's crushed.
What? My point? No. Just trying to lay out the model of what they think it's like.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Arwen's on the right track.
No, he's on the wrong track. He's off the track. He's going to crash into another train.
See what Kiwi's saying. Neil's picked up on. Sorry, Neil. I'll just repeat. If you've got something that you can't define in the first instance, say, trying to say that something else, I'm not even going to give a different comparison. Can't you define or compare something that is undefined in the first place? Can't say, this is what evolution is. They think this other thing is actually what evolution is. Can't do that because we can't define what evolution is. Then go on to expand that into saying that try and define something within the taxonomic classification system, working outside the boundaries of that convention. Just a way of describing things, putting them into categories. When you start in concepts that are beyond that labeling structure, that is to say that one labeled structure, labeled group of things, fish, turned into this other labeled group of things I'm going to call amphibians. That is working beyond the lines of what a classification, what species gives you, a classification, a way of naming things. You can't derive those other concepts from them. If you haven't got a definition, just to get back to the original point that Neil was getting frustrated over, me too, to be honest, don't know what the first thing is, can't then start saying, well, you can't compare it to that first thing, space evolution, because you can't define it in the first place to compare it.
Yep.
Well, I could compare it to something, not in gravity. Very comparable to gravity. Because we define have their own idea. Outdated idea. Right? When there's official altered versions of it, so that those mistakes happen. Gravity is evolution sounds very much like gravity.
Yeah, but those are defined.
What's that?
I just want to say, with both, you'd ask the same question. Someone says gravity, you say, what's gravity? Someone says evolution, you go, what's evolution? You say, yeah, Arwen, exactly.
I wouldn't say so because gravity's defined. Right?
That's true. At least you've got a definition. We had that the other day.
Yeah.
Only conceptual.
No, but it's still defined.
No.
You could go get it. It's still defined, either Newtonian or I shouldn't, like I said, I should go back on the Newtonian thing. It's Reverend John Michelle Cavendish C.V. Boyce. That's defined, right? So is space-time. Now, they're corrupted, but at least they're defined. Follow?
Well, the globe tab we had on the other day used that corruption to say we don't know what gravity is. Like, we do, you don't. We absolutely do, because it is defined, and we can define it. I mean, as you say, correct, it's corrupted, it's garbage, it's nonsense, pseudo for space. Doesn't mean you can't look it up and actually say, this is what it is.
Right.
In the case of Newtonian, the bending of space-time caused by the uneven distribution of mass. That's what gravity is, as defined. Whereas evolution, not so. We compared in that regard. So, yeah, just to be agreeable, no, Arwen, I'm afraid you're completely wrong. I don't know why I agreed with you.
Oh, okay, but really,
Yeah,
like,
but you gotta ask them. You gotta ask them what's that. 'Cause
Chocolate.
Half the time they don't know. They're talking about the old and busted.
Yeah.
You gotta ask them what it is so they can tell you at least which one we're talking about.
Hey, welcome to the show,
Sorry, guys.
Welcome to the show, Chocolate. Sorry, I just spotted you in there, and you just trounced all over Arwen. Loved it, man.
Yep. That's right. What's up, guys?
What's up, man? What's up, James Mays? He's on the board too. It's the first time you've been in here a while, James. Cool. Good to have you.
How's everybody doing today?
I still kind of want to know, like, really, is no official register?
Oh, you're dead.
He's all right for asking. You could go try to find one.
This is good. Oh, hold on. Arwen's very good at doing this. Hey, Arwen. Ahead. So we've got the whole show. I'm hoping that we'll negate any need to repeat any presentations gone out previous, which is why I'm having this conversation. I'm glad this has developed the way it's developing. Try and define it, Arwin. You're good at doing this. If there is a definition out there, you'll get it, right? Just with your typey types while the show's running live. That's about defining it for us while this show runs, and let's see how you get on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you described exactly what I was doing.
with your
Yeah,
typey
no.
types.
With your
Yeah.
typey types.
Well, what
I knew
comes
that's what
up
you were
is
doing.
like a undefined source in biology, evolution, good shape, a species,
Can't
and
do it.
relies on the process of natural. The theory of evolution related gradually change.
Are you done? How many times you
Yeah.
say species?
Twice.
Yeah. Bye.
So, just so we can expand on this, don't everyone jump in. It's already been said, but it's worth repeating. This is the taxonomic classification system, an arbitrary assigning of labels to certain groups. Who decides what groups? Well, I decide. I'm going to decide this is in a group with that. That, even though it looks a lot like that, isn't in the same group because I say so. Arbitrary. As soon as you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make that clear. Nothing wrong with grouping things together to make them easier to understand or describe to other people. No problem with that. Till you go outside the boundaries, that convention, start saying, this group I've arbitrarily assigned 30 million years ago developed from that other group that didn't develop. No. As soon as you start using the word species, working within a classification system, then extrapolating out from that classification system. So that's dead on arrival, that description. But I'm glad you read it. That's the whole. Good. Do more, please.
Okay, I get kind of like basically a niche occupation category.
Idea. We could stop right there.
Kind
Well,
of like
there-
astronomy.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to define it, I usually get past and I usually throw out what is evolution because we get bogged down because there's about 45 different definitions. I usually just go right to give me the scientific theory of evolution. That usually stops everything in its tracks.
Perfect. They mentioned that as well, didn't they, Alwyn? They used the word theory specifically. They did. Yeah. But because they used the word theory, you can ask them for the scientific validity. Theory comes after experimentation, scientific terms. That's what they're punting. Empirical evidence, evolution, whatever that is. They've got to have the theory that they say in that description. So what is theory? Well, you're never going to do it, are you? You're starting with a classification system. So this is, as I say, dead on arrival.
True, but I wasn't technically. Because that
Indeed, but in that definition that we've said is dead on arrival, it did say species twice and theory. That definition.
definitely.
It's also useful from previous subject that we've dropped anchor on, which is science. Now, it's a double-edged sword when you use it or invoke the word of science, as has been done in this description. Make your reader under the misapprehension that you have scientific validity, right? It conjures that idea when you use that word in this description, theory. That's great in the short term when you're trying to convince somebody that it's more legitimate than it actually is. Also gives us a very useful shortcut. QE's point, I'm leading back in for you here, QE. Brains. You've got a very useful shortcut to say, oh, it's one of those alarm bell words. Theory? Oh, yeah. So the science for this, what is it?
Yeah, I like those little trigger words. Eerie, really.
They did try though, but yeah, what I've heard, most of their attempts failed. That
Can they
proof
even get
never
past the
came
first
through.
step?
Nope.
I was going to.
Oops.
Exactly. Have they even got a phenomena to study? No, they're trying to validate extrapolation from a classification system. What phenomena? The one you said happened 93 million years ago? Oh, wow, that sounds studyable. An assumption based on a classification system.
And at the heart, a reification fallacy. All of it's fallacious, right? All of it.
But a reification fallacy, a model that's been turned into a reality. And what do you mean? How are they? What are they reifying?
Yeah, natural selection. Nature doesn't select. That's a pathetic fallacy. Only sentient beings can select or have choice constraints. Nature doesn't select anything. It's exactly a pathetic. It's quite pathetic, but it is also a pathetic fallacy.
So when they use stuff like the Darwin Awards, say that selection of this complete idiot jumping off a bridge without his official bungee cord and a piece of rope, that type of natural selection, what they're saying is nature weeding out the idiot.
No, I think
natural,
that... Go ahead.
Natural selection bit. There's a lot of this supposition in there. Natural selection implying that things mutate for benefit. Now, use the word experiment because they're not, but in terms of biological stuff, that's the only thing we've got, which is kind of in the time scales of humanity, is looking at fruit flies. Can't look at whales evolve or that the claim of that or anything. We can look at fruit flies and watch them breed and mutate. And as I'm aware, not been one mutation ever that improves on that perfect design of the fruit fly. Nothing ever following the natural selection method that it could turn into would allow it to be a transitionary fruit fly on its way to becoming a giraffe.
You're talking about
selection
you talking about Drosophila?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It had legs.
Flies.
It had legs and stuff coming out of its eyes.
That's all you get. It's sophisticated flies. No genetic improvement on that perfect design that already exists. Nothing good comes of it in terms of anything that's going to change it. Mutation, observational point of view, is a bad thing.
Yes, and Ernst Mayr he laughed at Drosophila. I could hear it. I can hear him laughing in his assessment. It has a lot to do with homeobox genes. We don't want to go down that road today, but it's a train wreck of epic proportions. And that's another mechanism, by the way, because you just substituted, so you had natural selection, and then I was trying to get, this is a full nother story. I'm not even going to go down this road, but you combined mechanisms, right? Natural selection and what? Yeah. Guess what that's called? Two mechanisms. I hope those guys aren't listening to this because it would ruin any comebacks. Say again?
I was going to guess equivocation, but probably not.
No, it's the modern synthesis or neo-Darwinism. So two mechanisms. They take natural selection because they know they're screwed with natural selection. So they just combine natural selection and mutation. That's neo-Darwinism or the modern synthesis. However, all that was disproved. If you could disprove something that hasn't been proven, but they did it, they disproved the whole thing. I think it was Dennis Noble from Oxford. He works in the physiological or anatomy department. He just crushed it. I think it was somewhere. I'd have to go searching for it, but it's a joke. Yeah. So they're back at square one.
Silly. Why don't they just build on the adaptation? Don't they just suggest that because of adaptation that it could range beyond the normal spectrum? Genetics.
How can it range beyond the genetics when you adapt, you have to have that information already inside your genetics, so it's not coming from outside?
Well, that's the mystery,
Hold on,
isn't
hold
it?
on, hold on, hold on.
If you're adapting, you already can do it.
Exactly.
You're not changing in any way. That's the whole point of that evolution crap.
Once more.
I think the
So the two-
Saiyan race disagrees
I'm
with you.
definitely not going to ever get this point through. You. Those were the two things I wanted to cover with Adam, but we're getting further and further away from it. First thing, was there any improvement when you describe mutation? Now, that's already been covered. You've said about eyes growing out, eggs growing out of eyes and stuff. Brings the second point, which is extremely interesting to me, which is what Adam described in the fruit fly itself. Right? Can't improve upon perfection. Now, what is perfection? It is perfectly designed to do the task that it's designed to do. Case of fruit fly. Can't get any better. Now, the idea, I want to hopefully move us onto the sandcastle functional specified complexity. So we're talking about a sandcastle here. We're back to we've already got to have this idea that isn't defined correctly of evolution in the first place. These perfect sandcastles developed out of nothing. Then someone coming along going, you know what? That's not quite perfect. You just do with a bit of a conservatory and maybe a few more flagpoles. This perfectly designed, perfectly efficient fortress that's emerged out of the sand by pure chance.
Keep going.
Adam, you there?
Keep going. You're stalling enough time. I'm going to get Ernst Mayer's take on that Drosophila or the fruit fly. Go ahead.
I wanted Adam to comment on the perfection part of it.
Well, but that's why I said it. There's not a thing out there that doesn't do what it says on the tin. They're all. That's not to disparage some of the Darwinian observations of different finches. At no point did I see a finch from one island with a certain beak in transition. They just are these things. Whether it's morphic fields, that relevance plays out those genes that are already there so that the creature is relevant to its environment. So that's passed through experiencing DNA from the parents on creation, or whether there are greater things morphically that encode all that. But basically, all of that is there. All of the information, shape of those beaks, is in both of the birds.
So they're basing their whole philosophy on some friggin' idiot's take on honey creeper beaks.
But within the DNA of one bird is the capability for it to look like the other bird.
Sure.
It's not a different bird, just the way in which the genes have rendered.
Yeah.
Just like, all your kids, you have two sons, don't look the same.
Hey, I got you. Hey, Tony Wickham. Sorry, sir. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. Thanks. Kill the bones paradigm, QE. It's a joke and fallacious. Yeah, I will here in a few minutes. We have some other business to attend to, but thanks a lot, Tony. You stalled long enough for me to find it. So, back to the fruit fly or Drosophila. And we got Ernst Mayr, Professor Ernst Mayr. He's the greatest living evolutionary biologist by Stephen Jay Gould. This is what he has to say. The occurrence of genetic monstrosities by mutation, for instance, the homeoetic mutant Drosophila, is well substantiated, but they are such evident freaks that these monsters can be designated only as hopeless. They are so utterly unbalanced that they would not have the slightest chance of escaping elimination through stabilizing selection. Giving a thrush of wings of a falcon does not make it a better flyer. Indeed, having all the other equipment of a thrush, it would probably hardly be able to fly at all. It is a general rule of which every geneticist and breeder can give numerous examples, that the more drastically a mutation affects the phenotype, the more likely it is to reduce fitness. To believe that such a drastic mutation would produce a viable new type capable of occupying a new adaptive zone is equivalent to believing in miracles. End of citation. Ernst Mayr, Population, Species, and Evolution, page 253. Thanks.
That's exactly what I meant to say.
Yeah, in short, what you see is defects emerge. You don't see is human being sprouting that really useful third arm, an extra opposable thumb at the end of an appendage. That doesn't happen.
Or even like Billy Whiz with hips, that means his legs can spin round so he can run twice as fast to catch prey faster. None of that, is there? No. Not even little mutations where you've got super thighs. There's nothing. It's just very slight phenotype variations.
Yes.
Within expressions, yeah.
Yep.
And there's variance in that, but there's nothing outside of the predefined abilities that's of any benefit. Yeah.
Well,
So
there
you
are
do see people. You do see. So outside of that, you do see mutations, but as the quote says, none of them are of any value or a use. They're always,
Deleterious.
selection point of view,
Right.
inferior.
right. Yeah, like because I have seen like foot that have like reversed legs, both legs, really weird, and they can still move around with that, but yeah, not as eloquently.
None of them end up like superpowers, like mutants.
Yeah.
Why don't we have
Right.
mutants running around?
That's the lie, isn't it? The X-Men idea of mutation. You'll go from a normal person to having a genetic mutation that will be able to breathe fire or something that's exceptionally useful for whatever reason. Reality is those genetic mutations go the opposite direction and defects. What they're trying to believe when they take two groups, classified species, say one is a lesser form of that one. No, it isn't. It's still perfectly adapted to do what it does. No, that's a lesser species, and this is the greater species. And they never provide the in-between, the missing link between the two arbitrarily assigned classified species. They show you an in-between stage, but they can show that things get worse when they mutate. Therefore, because things get worse when there's a genetic mutation, eventually they'll become Superman. No.
Hey, ironically, look at the thumbnail up on the show right now. It has evolution up there. That is so funny. I didn't plan that. You know what we're doing right now? We're begging the question fallacy like 6 steps down from the river because they haven't defined it yet. We're talking about mutations. Yeah, I entertain it, right? But mutations require genes. Where'd you get genes at naturally? That's what.
Information.
Yeah, that's another facet. You're absolutely on top of this, right? But I'm just talking biochemically speaking. Where did you get the substance? We'll get the information down the line. That's the real killer. But this is also a dead-on arrival scenario. You don't even have to go to information because biochemically speaking, you're not getting genes naturally. There's no chance.
Let's have a go at this. Right. Let me tell you a little story. Primordial and electricity making this complex. We're trying to make again. What's the soup consist of? I've forgotten what I'm trying to make in this ingredient.
You're trying to make. You're trying to make genes, right? You're trying to. Right.
We got complex proteins first.
Right.
Before you get
complex
genes,
proteins. Exactly.
How do you, whoa. No. Complex proteins? You're talking about functional biological proteins? Nah, genes first, brother.
Well, that's the methodology to make them, John.
Active
Because
RNA.
they're not energetically favorable.
Exactly. Can you summarize it? Let's summarize it real quick. It's all at the heart. Second law of thermodynamics violation. Everything. They're all uphill reactions.
Hence the lightning strike on a primordial soup. That's the thing that's supposed to give the violation apologetic. Thing that's supposed to be the spark of the thing that otherwise doesn't happen due to the way chemical reactions happen, energy transfer.
Yeah, we talked about that lightning bolt before, haven't we?
I've seen it on like a Jacob's ladder, and then he lifts the sewn together corpses to the top of the tower, and lightning strikes and get the monster.
Where did the lightning come?
Oh, geez. Hey, thanks. Shout out to Unitox Vemu, Sasha. Two of them, we have mutants and a vacuum. Yeah, nice play. Obviously, information always comes from nothing. Yeah, obviously. Thanks, Sasha. Appreciate it. Yeah, like I was saying, we go ahead, Nathan.
I'm going to ask if we were going to cover functional specified complexity. That was something that never broached this subject with my wife. Obviously, it got fairly complex fairly quickly. I used that sandcastle example. It drew a swift close to the conversation, going from completely disagreeing with me to completely agreeing with me, just with that one example.
Say that one more time, Nathan. I'm getting pestered.
Just because of the recent deluge of people covering this subject, mainly because of you, obviously became a discussion point here between me and my wife. It got to a point in the conversation where I used the example with the sandcastles, plain functional sequence specified complexity. That single example got my point across to the point where she went from disagreeing to agreeing with me. It explained everything we've covered on the show about taxonomic classification systems, and a lot of the other things we've covered didn't sink in until I tried to explain about the sand dunes, how you'd get a sandcastle to emerge out of that, explaining the actual complexity, the proteins that you're describing that you need in genes. That was the example that got my point across, and I don't make it as well as you do. Hoping you will make it now.
What the point with functional sequence specified complexity, it's probably one of the easiest things to recognize. And that's why I always use the sandcastle and sand dunes, because you're never going to run across a sandcastle that nature made, right? It's not going to happen. You're not going to be walking down the beach with your friends and, come across a sandcastle and wonder out loud and say, boy, that's amazing. Maybe we can come back tomorrow and find out, and let's see what nature's going to make next. That will never happen. If it does, then you better not have mental health professionals in the vicinity, right? Because that can't happen, right? It takes, for functional sequence specified complexity, it takes two things. It takes the right amount of energy, right? That's one thing. The right amount and the right energy, because of the electricity thing, right? You can have all the energy in the world, but it'd be like a bowl in a china shop, right? And then you have, I'm getting feedback bad. Then you have the information, right? You need two things, energy and information. Information only comes from intelligence, and it's all downhill from there. Is that good?
Yes. It is.
Yeah, that's the best. And it's I always bring that. It's one of my favorite arguments because it's simple. And you don't have to have a degree in biochemistry to figure it out. Right? Yep.
And like you said, we're 7 steps down the road when we're talking about mutation. And we're talking about the pre-assumption that you've got at one end of the beach a fairly mundane castle, like it's been put together with a piled bucket, and then they've dug a moat around it. And at the other end of the got something that's been carved by a person that's had 25 years skill sandcastle carving. Somebody comes at the end of the day when there's no one on the beach at these two sandcastles, says that sandcastle on the right evolved from sandcastle on the left, and they both emerged out of the ground. Nothing. I classified that as a simple castle, and that is a complex castle, and the simple castle evolved into, through this process, evolution. I'm not going to define the big sandcastle. What's happened in 6 steps along the begging the question fallacy?
No, Nathan, it's more profound than that. It's like, is that sandcastle however it got there, and then a wave washes up, and then as it washes back, that conservatory you talked about earlier has been perfectly built as well.
Shout out to Chris
Yeah.
Chator. 1 second. Shout out to Chris Chator's Fight the Good Fight. No space helmets required. Just hit that thumbs up button below. And thanks for the support. Appreciate it, Chris.
I like your analogy better. So you've got your simple sandcastle on the beach. Someone says, "Yeah, that's going to evolve. It's just a question of time." See? Yeah, watch. We'll sit here and watch. And a wave laps over the whole sandcastle, and like you say, as it recedes, it's got an extra story, got a bigger moat, got a little boathouse.
Yeah, but it does change it, though, right?
That's the
reality is,
biological reality of the
let's
claim.
answer Neil. Yes, it does get different when the wave crashes over it. It doesn't improve it, Neil. It doesn't get a conservatory or a second story.
Correct.
Washes a bit away.
And change is too
That
ambiguous,
seems
man.
like it would be entropy like decreasing. That doesn't seem like it would be possible to happen in that scenario.
Exactly.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, you just can't say change. That's too ambiguous. It's too proby, right? Because everything changes. They're not explaining anything, right? With the change deal. Is change a mechanism?
Yeah, but that's their trick word, though.
That is the trick word, and that's why I always focus on it. Is the change in the weather the cause or the mechanism for a hurricane? That's the one that usually that's a Jack and Yard one right there.
It's the difference between science for a phenomena and the description of occurring. So in terms of natural laws, really cracking description to how a hurricane emerges with the use of the second law of thermodynamics. Anything to do with why the hurricane first emerged. Describing it is explaining it. So that's the difference. It's the second law, and when you're describing change over time, not explaining why that occurs, can give a really good description of how the sandcastle washes away, why the waves coming in. Well, the second law doesn't give you a description. It doesn't give you an explanation for that. It just describes the occurrence, the change over time, as opposed to scientifically validating why that change occurred.
Isn't it about to pressure?
Again,
Pressure.
you're explaining the weather. Yes.
All right, come on, I got a banana. You guys are letting me down.
All right. I can feel it.
I think we built the Arwen ages ago when we were talking about dinosaurs. You kind of mentioned about the issue they've got in terms of dating. They've got to kind of crowbar it in. And the thing with all this tissue identification is it throws me another question on the dating method in use. Because just because the methods they've used, i.e. the circular logic with rocks to mandate what you see and the timescale it has to fit in. Very interesting when we have a different timescale that we can have practical experience of, which is decomposition. It's interesting that there's that complete abandonment of all the knowledge we have actually got and is validatable with regards to decomposition. That's completely binned in preference the paradigm.
But is it binned on the inside circles? They must know this actual method, dating method. They must know it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be knowing what they're. You need to know the real thing in order to lay down some cover story. Otherwise, you don't know what you're covering.
Yeah, you know the age of the rocks because you look at the rock and you see what the fossils inside it. That enables you to identify it. And you know the age of the fossils, you can look at the rock it's in and identify it from that.
Yeah, that checks out.
No, the petrified things are basically.
Exactly my point. Via that, therefore, you can ascribe early times to it, can't you?
No, everything's undateable. Everything's undated. You can't date them. You can't date anything. How are you going to date them? Scientifically, you can't do it.
Stick it in a box. That's the only way physically. But okay, we have comparisons. Okay, but we don't have the comparison or the alleged claims of millions of years, but we do have comparisons for decomposition. And those comparisons mean we are finding tissues. I want to come on to some of the tissues that are found in the Triceratops bone. If we find in these tissues, then our knowledge is validatable, contradicts first and foremost their claim. Does that make sense?
Well, I think Huey said it earlier when he described two of you between you. On the one hand, study that's in line with entropy, decomposition. But what they describe, which is violation of thermodynamics, got things being gated, merging, violating the second law. So you're right, QE, at its heart, the idea of evolution is a second law of thermodynamics violation.
Yep. Always been. Yep. They just hide it. And then when you go into these, even the debating forums, it'll be creation versus evolution. And then when you get into the actual nuts and bolts in the forum, they'll back away and say evolution has nothing to do with creation. Well, what? Okay, what's evolution? Then give me the scientific theory, and then it goes round and round we go because they can't get out of it. Because I got tired of going down the whales, antibiotic resist. I got tired of destroying them. It was fun, but I got sick of it. So I just kill it, right coming out of the gate, right? And check this out, folks. If you hear anyone talking about evolution, or if you listen to an evolutionary debate, they always start with the evidence. They will never, ever start with what it is and the scientific theory. You think I'm kidding? Go back and listen to people talking about this. They always start with evidence. Well, you don't do that. First, you have to define what it is you're talking about first, and then provide the evidence. Because if you don't define what you're talking about first, then any evidence is available for you to bring up. See the little trick? Mark my words. You'll see it every time.
I was just going to say, sounds like another trick.
I've got one of the other tricks that they kind of mention. Continue what, and the kind of link's nice. Owen asked earlier, have they come up with anything to explain it? And they're staying in the same paradigm. I've looked at it, John, and I come across this thing called, and this is to excuse why there's tissue and specifically protein matter there. Never mind full cells. They came up with this thing called does exist, the Fenton reaction. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Yeah. I'll summarize it quickly then. Just so
free radicals, right? Yeah, I did it in the Mary Schweitzer. Hold on a second. I did it in the Mary Schweitzer presentation, dude.
Let's hear it though. Let's summarize.
No, go ahead, Adam.
In terms of in context to why the hell we're seeing these things after 65 million years, they some with regards to the bloods, but the basic claim is that your protein molecules are long things that can degrade easily once they break. What happens is you get this Fenton reaction where there's a bonding, cross-chain bonding, which then stabilizes it, makes it more impervious to the second law, or in this case, decomposition. That's why you get inside these soft, squidgy collagen and all these protein molecules in all cells. Not because it's not 65 million.
Yeah, it's nonsense. If you go back to the Mary Schweitzer presentation, I do touch on it briefly. It's hydroxyl free radicals. Yeah, that's akin to putting brown recluse spiders into mummy tombs, and that's why they're preserved.
It's like I said, if you don't define the terms, what they're doing first. I looked into that and thought, oh, is there something crazy shit going on? And then you look at it and you look at what a Fenton reaction is, and even proper pseudoscience, because it's two things that are just not mutually applicable to each other.
Yep.
Yes, Fenton reaction happens, but not to justify preservation of protein 65 million years.
Hopefully,
It's the old and sequitur approach then.
yes.
Yeah.
Because they know their target audience isn't going to know jack squat. That's why Mary removed her materials and methods sections out of that paper. Like I said, for all you guys, I hope you went back and listened to the Mary Schweitzer presentation. I don't think I put it in the description box of this video. I screwed that up. But hopefully people went back and listened to that entire presentation at the end, because they never got to her fairy tale preservation mechanism. And I took it. It's just laying there bleeding.
Well, that made me laugh, John. As far as I understand it, the comparative method he used was take some ostrich blood vessels,
Chicken and ostrich blood.
yeah, stick them in some irony blood thing at a constant temperature, sealed for a couple of years. Take them out, say that they look fairly well preserved, and then say that, there you go, that proves that if you stuck that thing in the ground for 65 million years, justifies why it's same.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would advise everyone to go back to that presentation and listen to the end of it. It's cover your eyes. I get medieval.
Pull together a recipe. Look at it, gas mark 0.25 for 65 million years, and you get the same effect. That was her response.
Comparative, because it has to be iron rich, because this, I think, elicits some of this Fenton reaction or adds a level of preservation. That was her claim, and that same as something dropping dead 65 million years ago, getting quickly covered, and those 2 years clearly demonstrate that that's what would happen.
Those 2 years clearly demonstrated. Like I said, guys, go back and watch that Mary Schweitzer. I'm telling you, I pull her entire study apart.
The thing that was very telling about it was the nature of the consensus science that's actually occurring. Her horror finding this in the first place. I was really worried about what my superiors might say. Why? Because it's not conforming with the consensus reality that's put out in the narrative. That's why. Presumably she's been, I assume, on the right track. Later come out with this, put it in gas mark 0.5. But presumably because she wants to keep her job and she wants to keep her career and she wants to keep everyone around her sweet and doesn't want to upset anybody. That's terrible. That's not the way to go about doing science. This is science.
All right, we ready to run it? Let's get to business.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to share it. Can everyone, mic discipline, please? Don't have to put it all on mute. We'll go ahead and run the Miles, Liar, Davis, Sly, Spunk, Monkey, Sparkane, and OLM, O loser, fossilized brain tissue.
Bones.
Here we go. Yeah, you're going to have to check it out on the YouTube stream. I'm not sharing it over Discord. Here we go. Miles the Liar Davis, Sly, Spunk Monkey, Sparkane, and OLM. Oh, loser, there art thou. June 2021.
But the Mary Schweitzer situation is often represented as she found soft tissue. And she didn't find soft tissue.
Are you high right now?
What she found was effectively fossils of soft tissue.
Oh,
Are you serious? Are you...
Fossilized soft tissue, eh? That doesn't exist. It's a contradiction in terms. You dumbass cracker. What's Mary gonna find next? Married bachelors, achromatic rainbows, bright darkness, perhaps? How about the pinnacle of oxymorons? Ball-tard intelligence. A Nobel Prize is awaiting. Nut. Did you know that Dr. Mary Schweitzer was interviewed live in her lab on 60 Minutes in 2010 in front of tens of millions? Watching her stretch out flesh under a microscope from a 68 million-year-old T-Rex femur. Then, trumping that a few seconds later, showed soft, pliable blood vessels in an 80 million-year-old hadrosaur. I wonder what those little round red iron-containing thingies in those soft, pliable blood vessels were. A real mystery wrapped in an enigma, I bet. Let's take a listen.
What happened next happened by mistake. Mary put some fragments of the bone in acid to dissolve away the outermost layer of mineral. But the acid worked too fast, and all the mineral dissolved away. Being a fossil, there should have been nothing left.
Did you hear that, Miles the numpty muppet dipshit? Leslie Stahl has a more well-dot acumen than your dumbass. And you're a self-purported seasoned biologist?
But there was, and it was elastic.
Elastic? So according to Miles the moron here, these are elastic fossils.
Like living tissue.
This is the piece.
No. She showed us video she took under the microscope.
That's really what happened?
Yes.
That's the dinosaur bone?
Did you hear that, moron? She said dinosaur bone, not fossil. You bumbling, ball-tard bonehead.
Without mineral now. That's what was left.
It looked like the soft tissue she would have expected to find if it had been modern bone.
uh-oh.
This was impossible. This bone was 68 million years old.
So you see this and you think, what?
Shitstorm. Because the Evo-tards' dumbasses are in a sling. As if they weren't already. By one of their own high priestesses.
You say,
I didn't want to tell anybody.
You'd be ridiculed,
yes.
Right?
And so I said to my technician, okay, do it again. I don't believe it.
And yet, in sample after sample, they were there. Things that looked suspiciously like flexible, transparent blood vessels.
Say what?
She finally mustered the courage to tell Jack.
Then she dissolved the bone away.
Dissolved what away, Jack?
The bone away.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
Bone.
The bone away.
I thought you said that. Let's continue.
And there were blood vessels, and, I was like shocked. I mean,
How could that be?
How could that be? That's right.
A real mystery wrapped in an Evo-tard enigma, eh? I'll take a wild, flailing shot in the dark at her. Perhaps the bones are young, and your pseudoscience fairy tale of a myth long ages just got jacked yard.
Hosmer with a drive. Cheese and crackers.
Jack? FYI, Jack is Jack Horner, paleontologist. Jack was the inspiration source for the Jurassic Park character Alan Grant. Jack served as a technical advisor for all the Jurassic Park films.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones.
Look at that.
blood vessels, and even what seem to be intact cells, pose a radical challenge to the existing rules of science, that organic material can't possibly survive even 1,000,000 years, let alone 68 million. Mary, Jack, and their team published their B-Rex findings in a series of papers in the journal Science and were promptly attacked.
Well, yeah. Here they come to save the day. Evotards!
Critics said their samples might have been contaminated.
Hey, Leslie, how about if the critics themselves were the contaminated samples?
Or that the supposed blood vessels were actually something called biofilm, a type of slime.
Critics bio-confirmed.
But as Mary showed us, she's been able to replicate her findings. These are pieces of an even older dinosaur, a well-preserved 80-million-year-old duckbill. When she dissolved it away in acid...
Let's put this under the scope here.
Well, look.
Is that a blood vessel? This is a blood vessel. You see the branches right there? And look at all of them. And it's so consistent over and over and over again. We do this bone.
Bone.
We do this bone.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
Bone.
We do this bone.
Just making sure.
She doesn't claim that her fossils are young.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
They're not fossils, you mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging window licker. They're bone.
We do this bone.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
This bone was 68 million years old.
Bone.
We do this bone.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones...
Look at that.
Bone.
We do this bone.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
This bone was 68 million years old.
You get it, Sassenach. And we don't much care for what she claims. Only what she can scientifically validate. We want to see her scientifically confirm the dating game. Should have better luck sprouting Japanese maples from her armpits.
She was questioned. She wasn't believed to begin with, so people thought she'd made an error.
Yeah. She wasn't believed by who? Evotards.
And what she'd found was a different method of fossilization.
No, she didn't. What the fuck, dude? So while Mary was analyzing soft tissue in bone, he discovered a new method of fossilization? This is akin to Louis Pasteur finding a different method of nylon production in his work with wine and milk, for f***'s sake. This clown is just making shit up on the fly, with his continued clumsy greasing of the numpty dipshit skids campaign for his fossilized soft tissue train wreck of a dumpster fire.
That wasn't what people had known about before, and allowed for the preservation of soft tissue in a fossilized form.
Folks, the only fossilized soft tissue, my word, ever discovered was in betwixt spinning space monkey ears. The technical name is silicified sphere-tard gray matter. The colloquial phrase is fossilized bald-tard brain tissue. As we all know, it's chemically inert.
The soft tissue is not preserved. It's not that there is soft tissue remaining.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Deny, deny, deny. Fanatical, blind melon chitlin religitard. Psst.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones...
Look at that.
Blood vessels, and even what seemed to be intact cells. Flexible, transparent blood vessels.
There were blood vessels, and, I was like shocked.
Oh, son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
I've not heard a satisfactory explanation of how soft tissue was preserved for 6.5 million years. Can you give me?
Can you prove that it was?
Now, Sly the Spunk Monkey Sparkane wants to add his 2 cents and challenge the discovery of soft tissue in dinos. It wasn't a mere 6.5 million years either. It was 68 and 80 million years, respectively, with Mary Schweitzer's discoveries. But that's mere child's play. Hold on to your fossilized brain tissue, ball-tards. The world record holder for allegedly antiquated, anachronistic soft tissue. 550-million-year-old Russian beard worm. From Mcdolsky, Westall, Foucher, Microstructure and Biogeochemistry of the Organically Preserved Ediacaran Metazoan Sabalidites. Journal of Paleontology, 2014. The Sabalidites' organic body is preserved without permineralization. Minerals have not replicated any part of the soft tissue, and the carbonaceous material of the wall is primary, preserving the original layering of the wall, its texture, and fabrics.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over.
In January 2017, Dr. Mary Schweitzer showed up on Steve McClone of the Clan McClown's Great Debate Show, for a Q&A. I took that interview and publicly deconstructed every single claim Mary and all the brain-dead panel evotards made. That, and I don't know how you could characterize it any other way, comprehensive thrashing was sent directly to Dr. Mary Schweitzer at North Carolina State University. He didn't and has never responded, and hasn't appeared personally on YouTube since. That video is in the description box underneath this video.
Has anybody found soft tissue, okay, from dinosaur fossils? Has anybody found it? Okay, I want to hear everybody say that. Just come on. I want everybody at least give an opinion. Have they found anybody in the world, have they found soft tissue in dinosaur fossils?
Preserved soft tissue. Soft tissue that. So,
correct.
Has anybody ever found dinosaur?
Just a yes or a no. Let everybody answer real quick, Miles. Then go on.
Anybody found dinosaur bones? The answer is no.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Their bone.
They do this bone.
This bone was 68 million years old.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones.
Bone.
They do this bone.
The bone away.
Bone.
They do this bone.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones.
Look at that.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
This bone was 68 million years old.
You get it, dumbass crackerneck. Moreover, from the aforementioned thrashing, Dr. Mary Schweitzer, the internal parts of the T-Rex bone look just like a modern horse. There was no extra mineralization. It looked like a horse that died about 10 years ago and sat out on the prairie. Uh-oh. Again, Mary Schweitzer, if you look at the bones of these dinosaurs under the microscope, they look just like your bone. Uh-oh! Mary Schweitzer, if I show you a 2-medicine formation bone, Brachiolephosaurus, it's from a different part of Montana. You will see that bone completely secondarily mineralized. That bone represents fossilized bone. In that sense, our T-Rex was not. There was no secondary mineralization. It was lacy, light, and unaltered. I could hold a piece of it in my hand, put it against a bone from a horse, and you couldn't tell the difference. It was weird.
Fatality.
Furthermore, I have 30 references beginning in 1993 to the present, sitting in front of me from the most prestigious peer-reviewed journals in the world. Journal of Paleontology, Nature, Science, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, PLOS One, Proceedings of the Royal Society, Bone, Acta Histochemica, Nature Communications, the Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology, and Proteome Research, all directly confirming dino soft tissue. You blind, melon chitlin, unread, willfully ignorant, numpty dipshit. Now the ball-tard schmuck biologist is going to shift focus to Mark Armitage. Mark, a microscopist, published his work in 2013 on soft tissue he found in a Triceratops horn that he dug up, and was richly rewarded for his efforts and dedication with a pink slip by his employer, California State University Northridge. Gotta love it.
University employee, and you are, and it sounds like he was a lab manager, so not a particularly highly positioned university employee, but if you are using your position to promote something which the university disagrees with and disapproves of, what he should have been doing is presenting his work to the scientific community for criticism and for questioning and for repetition and analysis and so on.
Monkey boy. That's exactly what Mark did. From Mark Armitage and Kevin Anderson, soft sheets of fibular bone from a fossil of the supraorbital horn of the dinosaur Triceratops horridus. Acta Histochemica, Volume 115, Issue 6, July 2013, pages 603 to 608. And by the way, that's a peer-reviewed journal. You know something, Wendell Liquor? Allow me to give you a news flash. A Be Kind to Dumb Animal Week helpful tip. It's well past painfully obvious to anyone that can fog a mirror that you're absolutely clueless about whatever you speak of, no matter the topic. You don't even have a Formica deep surface understanding of the topics that we've listened to you spew out from that incoherent, unread, ball-tard blowhole of yours today. It's friggin' embarrassing. Isn't it time to get back to your true vocation? Picking up cans along the side of the road. Supervised. Now we have Mr. Rotating Engines. Oh, Alem. Oh, loser, there art thou. See previous numpty clip. Opening up his incoherent ball-tard blowhole and bashing himself in the face with a spade shovel. Again.
Oh, yeah, more information about Mark Armitage. He did not find a Triceratops horn. He found a bison horn.
The only in-print suggestion of a bison horn associated with Mark Armitage comes from a commenter named Deadlead1001, your sub-average bonehead on a debate evolution thread from Reddit. You would think, and I'm just spitballing here, that the referees and or editor from Acta Histochemica might have done their due diligence and made sure where the soft tissue was coming from, so as to not allow the journal to become a laughingstock and implode. You think? You dizzy doofus clown fuck of a moron?
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
Yeah, I think the word soft is confusing you. It's soft tissue that has fossilized, so it's not soft anymore.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
They're not fossils, you mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging window licker. They're bone.
This bone was 68 million years old.
They do this bone.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
Bone.
We do this bone.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones.
You're busted.
One from literally many hundreds, and we'll keep it in the family here. From Mary Schweitzer, Whitmire, Horner, and Toporski. Soft tissue vessels and cellular preservation in Tyrannosaurus rex. Science, 25 March 2005, pages 1952 through 55. Soft tissues are preserved within hind limb elements of Tyrannosaurus rex. Museum of the Rockies, specimen 1125. Removal of the mineral phase. Bone reveals transparent, flexible, hollow blood vessels containing small, round microstructures that can be expressed from the vessels into solution.
Oh, son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
He refuses to publish his
horn.
work in the paleontology journal. He only posts it in creationist literature.
What the f***, man? You're either a stone-cold liar or a moron. Again, from Mark Armitage, Kevin Anderson, soft sheets of fibular bone from a fossil of the supraorbital horn of the dinosaur Triceratops horridus. Acta Histochemica, Volume 115, Issue 6, July 2013, pages 603 to 608. Are you saying Acta Histochemica is a creationist journal? Moreover, you're not a creationist?
Say it ain't so.
If not, can you please regale us with your scintillating scientific explanation on how you can stand in direct contradiction with the laws of thermodynamics and quantum mechanics? Por favor.
You dumbass.
That is a poor source at best.
So let me get this straight. Mark Armitage, a published professional, is a poor source, but your bumbling bison bone spinning space monkey Reddit retard Deadlead 1001 is good to go. Is that what you're selling, oh loser?
And I'm not going to say what I really think about him.
I'm going to say what I know with absolute certainty about you. Demonstrated over and over again via your incoherent ball-tard blowhole. You're a classic clinical level Dunning-Kruger fossilized ball-tard brain-tissued pretender clown numpty dipshit of megalithic proportions that wouldn't know the difference between his ass and a 30-pound torque wrench.
Yeah, dinosaurs, were died.
What the hell did you just say?
Yeah, dinosaurs, were died.
Do you speak any English?
Okay, now I'm going to make this because I'll give him that he's a biologist and all this. Okay, and I can tell he's mainstream because he's skirting around it. But what they found was not fossilized. You said 10 times fossils. Okay, this shit was soft tissue. It was not fossilized, bro. So I know you got education and experience. Now apply some common sense and quit calling soft tissue a fossil.
About damn time.
Where was the soft tissue found?
Bone.
They do this bone.
This bone was 68 million years old.
Bone.
The bone away. The bone away.
Bone.
They do this bone.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones.
Look at that.
It was found in a fossil.
Miles Davis.
Sorry. Yeah. My final thought is that I really wonder whether people like Chris and Brian are genuine, or whether they're just here to poke and provoke. Why do I get wound up by that? I get wound up by that because they're provoking and poking, basically saying that my whole life, my whole career was a lie and that I'm a fraud.
Correct.
And I would, I'd be surprised if anybody was not provoked by that sort of comment.
Say hello to my little friend!
Before you make the point, Miles Davis, the Dunning-Kruger in you, Brian, is coming out hot because you're telling Miles Davis that he doesn't know what he's talking about when he have been a biologist for many years since before you were born.
Hey!
Hello. It's for you.
Yeah.
You've just been erased.
That's it, baby. He's erased. I don't know how I can get out of that. Make sure you guys send that off to him if you know who we're talking about. Sly Sparkane, Miles Davis, and that OLM numpty. Shout out to Rob Keane. I'm muted again. I don't know what's going on, Rob. I'm going to have to look into that. Lumpy gas in a vacuum. Numpty clips hopefully cause mental pain. And Retro Bill. Arguing about whether fairy tale dinosaurs can have soft tissue is akin to babbling about black holes in a fairy tale space vacuum. Yeah, definitely. We'll wait till everyone gets back.
Lots of people mirrored it. Pretty plain dropped anchor here. Subject to implications of wider reach truth in regards to centric deception, whatever that is.
Well, all I know is the dinosaurs were died.
Yes.
Is that all you got out of it?
Alone carries it through.
Thank God I wasn't drinking when that part came up.
I think that's one of Arwen's favorite parts because I keep hearing it or seeing it in chats.
I can't help it, man.
They were died.
Yeah.
Come on, he went to biology school.
No, guys, never forget the dinosaurs were died.
We won't, Arwen, and thanks for reminding us.
They were well died, like millions of years ago.
They're bones.
Yeah.
I want to know what biology school is.
Yeah, he's a seasoned biologist, if you could believe it. I mean, that's what he says anyway. I thought it was just a bashing in the face. I don't know how you recover from that. Sorry about that.
Too bad she didn't find any bones.
Bones?
Bones.
Bones?
Bones.
On that subject of bones, I've put something in the chat, just a picture from video.
Yeah,
Shit.
osteocyte.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at the beginning of the Humpty clip there is the commentator makes the profound statement that reality that when she dropped the acid on it, oh shit, it's a fossil. Everything solved.
Correct.
Listening to Miles Delight Davis there, kind of in this sense that this just dissolved the top layer. Underneath was the fossilized bits of the soft tissue, as you can't reply it. Yeah. The picture I've given you is you described. It's a picture of the astrocytes, and these are Well, they were probably about 40 micrometers long and about 10 micrometers wide.
I can't get them. I can't get them smaller to show everyone, Adam. It's a huge picture. It just won't go smaller.
But these are on after the bone been dissolved. What's left is a stretchy, and they zoom in. Not only is it not just mineral that's left a trace of soft tissue, as I said, it's elastic. You can zoom in, and some of these still teeny weeny little cells, as you describe as osteocytes, which are the osteocytes are the cells that are basically responsible for turning your bone over, because you don't just have bone and it stay as bone, still living tissue bone. They rebuild and structure and keep it the integrity together. Oh, there you go. So they're on screen. And like I said, these are tiny. These are micrometers wide, and there's still bits of them intact. Not fossilized images of Ben.
Yeah, precisely. I pulled them up, Adam. They were on screen when you were talking.
I think the point in terms of that subdiff, try and pretend this detail is served mineral replacement. It's not possible to get that detail you see in fossils. I think if you talk about, they talked about Archaeopteryx and what an amazing thing it was just to get the pattern of the feathers in these fossils. Yeah. So to try and pretend that you've got that level of cellular structure of an osteocyte is nonsensical. For me, further demonstrates that's issue.
Well, if you've seen her on 60 Minutes, she was doing it in front of everyone. She was stretching the soft tissue out. They were stretching. Yeah. You can't have fossilized soft tissue. It's a married bachelor. It's an achromatic rainbow. You can't have it. It's a contradiction in terms. It's foolishness, and they've been saying it. I'm telling you, they've been saying this for the past, I don't know, 15 years. They can't get it through their head. The whole time, Mary Schweitzer, if anyone watched that video, which should still be in the description box, by the way, I'll check it after the show if it's not. Even the high-level bonehead baltards, they still had it in their mind that what Mary found was fossils. And I think Mary was stupefied because I don't think she caught on until like 3/4 through the show, where she said, no, these were bones. They still didn't get it. I'm telling you, listen to that video. They still didn't get it.
That's what I said was profound by the narrator of that thing. He makes the understandable claim. Yeah? And this is the reality that the acid will dissolve bone and it will also dissolve fossils. What it doesn't dissolve, that stretchy thing, is collagen. No effect on it. It leaves it there. That's what you saw there, the cells there. So it wasn't a fossil. Bone.
Bone?
Bone.
My favorite part, though, is how she was nervous to tell Big Old Jack. And then even Big Old Jack's reaction to it was like, whoa, that can't happen.
Yep.
All I heard was, oh, shit, my career. Full of shit.
Yep.
This is not cool.
Nope.
But why is it not cool? I thought we was talking about science, baby. I thought this was objective.
Because because it's pseudoscience.
Why would they be putting it in acid? Affected the whole thing.
Good question.
Because it just destroys the fossil. What's the point of demonstrating?
Because they knew it wasn't a fossil. Mary knew it was bone.
Yep.
Okay.
She said she could hold a piece of it in her hand, and you couldn't tell the difference between that and a horse bone. That's why.
You're saying that concept wasn't grasped by the enthusiastics live in the chat in the stream.
No. No, Adam. See, you haven't been involved in this. All the evotards I met through those years thought the same thing, fossilized soft tissue. All the way up to and through. They still think it now. Miles just said it, right? They still continuously think it's fossil. They think that these fossils, when you put them in EDTA, which is just a common chelating agent, you find it everywhere. But anyway, they pop it in there, and the fossils, they start to dissolve. And then when the fossil dissolves, the soft tissue poofs itself back into existence. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding. You may think I'm embellishing this and making this up. I am not making it up.
Oh, that's an extraordinary claim.
Extraordinary. It's batshit insane.
But would the thing that they're then testing, would it be just a partially surface petrified flesh that just kind of like partially? Does dinosaur bones?
No.
But
yeah. I was trying to get him to ask. Now ask Mary after they. I still don't think to this day. I still think that they think it's still fossils. I'm telling you. Go ahead and listen to it. It's right underneath the video. You make the call.
Little bit married. A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, is poor Mary okay? Like, I mean, it seems like she was very nervous, and they even talked about, getting attacked.
Yeah.
And again, my thing is, why getting attacked? I thought this was science. I thought this was objective. What's going on?
Then she played
very confused about it.
Then she played like she was getting attacked by quote unquote creationists. Why? I wasn't attacking her. Why? You just blew the whole top off this mess. Who was attacking her specifically was the evotards, because their fairy tale paradigm just imploded.
What?
Devastatingly.
Not just so much the paradigm, Chocolate. It's the reason for the fear, because it's not the science. The science would cope with it. The reason for the fear is it's the implosion of the business.
Yep.
And that's what you're scared of.
But even she said it real quick. She was like, "Do it again. I don't believe it. Do it again." That was her exact quote.
Right.
I don't believe it. Why believe? Well, of course you're gonna do it again. You're trying to establish it scientifically. I get that, but why is it I don't believe it?
Yeah.
Do it again.
Good point.
Because it's a kick in the nuts. When QE said to me, "There's your scientific method," say it again. It's it's the dawning of reality, almost, the phrase, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah? It's an admission that this is profound. See that as dodgy on her part. It's almost.
Forget what Mary is as well. So, the base level, she's going to recognise the problem immediately. Why she doesn't want it. That profession also.
Shout out to Sasha. One
mate.
second, guys. Shout out to Sasha. You take bone from a fossil and then use a microscope? No, you don't. Is it dinosaur bone fossil? No. Or fossils of bones? No. All Mary found, and she told you, was bones. Bones? You guys want to know what my favorite part of it was?
I'm just
Go
ahead. Saying, Adam. Profession.
Yeah, the profession, very professional, and it should accept data. Not that's not accepting it. The trouble is the funding for the profession is of a very different means, and that's what you actually see over time to these people, all of these, even the intelligent design biologists. You see their funding disappear. That's the way to stop the development of these discoveries. Yeah, so paradigm shift. You don't want that. So the best way is to push down their publications, but fundamentally, over the long term, It's to remove funding. How it's managed, or how the business manages it. Two different things. Business of academia for what the general public should know and what professionals know. I don't think that the majority of bone hunters, real bone hunters, not internet, use it for validation of their paradigm, but actually people that are professional in this, I don't think these details they're unaware of. And they have to, with the pain of, keep taking a living from.
All right. Am I clear?
You're clear. Thank you, Adam.
Is everyone waiting for my favorite part of that?
Your favorite part, QE?
Thanks for asking. It was the part where Jack got Jackyard and the color commentary said cheese and crackers. I love that part, I have to admit, because all the rest is just nonsense. In my opinion, I mean, it's incoherent nonsense. Shouldn't even be talking about it. But they want to leave me some hanging watermelon-sized curveballs, Miles and Sly, and loser. Just leave them out there for me. I'll just come by and jack it yard. It'll be cheese and crackers for everyone. Clowns.
It's just like, it's within its own statement, its own accepted facts. The way fossils form, how things dissolve, what it will dissolve, what it won't dissolve. There's that clear contradiction. Excuse me. And just like within cosmology, I suppose, and Einsteinian stuff, the answer isn't to accept the obvious. The answer is to conjure up, and earlier, let's invent superforming bonds that stop the degeneration of these. So it's in the time frame we want. Let's invent all of these things, and let's fundamentally redefine the definition of fossil, keep us within our paradigm, instead of accepting the clear and obvious.
Yes, sir. Anything else on this? We want to go down the list, Nathan?
Nathan's starting a premiere. It's 10, isn't it? He's fine to me.
Who we got in there? Flat Earth data. Make sure it's concise. I got wingies today. Okay? Keyword, wingies. Got me? Go ahead.
Yeah, just looking into the Mary Schweitzer, the study in 2005. It was redone in 2000 and let me just see here.
13.
Yeah, by Maidment was her name, and basically they did everything. They did everything but to acknowledge the possibility until they cut open the remnants, I guess, and found out the nucleus wasn't human, because they'd said that it was mishandling of the fossils. Like, for instance, the paleontologist before cut his hand and he picked up the bone. Like, they did everything under the sun to not, admit that it's potentially, right from the dinosaur. But just looking at this history.com, I sent an email to them and asking them for an explanation of how a blood cell could survive 75 million years. And I haven't got a reply back. I sent another one today. But it shows you that this is what she says, the Maidment lady, pardon me. One morning I turned on the microscope, increased magnification. I thought, wait, that looks like blood. And they basically said, no, it's contamination, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. But then they cut it open, she said, and it for sure was not human. She said that it goes here. Red blood cells of humans, like other mammals, are usually among vertebrates because they lack a cell nucleus. So continuing on, they still are trying to now say that, oh, look, blood can actually survive 75 million years, right? This is their justification when you keep reading the article. So we'll see what they reply back on, the science behind it, other than, because they don't want to give up that 75 million years, right? They cannot give it up. So they're going to do everything under the sun to kind of justify their beliefs about it. And but her name is Maidment. Her first name is Susanna Maidment, an imperial paleontologist, one of the lead researchers of the new study, told by the Guardian paper. It says it's really difficult to get curators to allow you to snap bits of their fossils off. The ones we tested are crap, very fragmentary, and they are not the sort of fossils you'd expect to find soft tissue. So, very interesting. Thanks for bringing it up. It's a good read, and there's a contradiction there, a big contradiction between their word of imperialist paleontologist. Being ontologist is the beginning of things, and pale means the definition of pale is kind of like it's interesting how they combine the word pale and paleontologist together, because the definition of pale, just one second, I had it up here. The definition, pardon me. It just says it's let's see, pale, low intensity. Sorry, no, wrong one. Oh man, I should have. I didn't know you were going to ask me that quickly. But anyway, it's just basically, if you look up the word pale and ontologist together, it's almost comedy in the sense that they have this belief system and yet they call themselves paleontologists. Let's see if I can get the definition really quickly. Yeah. Light, feeble, and weak. That's the definition of pale one. I should have had this ready for you. Give me a second. I'm not getting.
Paleo.
Well, paleo, right? That's the origins of it. But I mean, the combination of pale and ontologist together. It's just an interesting. It to me, it's like they're kind of they're mocking their own profession with the name itself. So, but anyway, thanks, Q. It was entertaining and really good read here. So I'm excited to see what kind of information they reply back, if anything at all. And it's under history.com. You can go look at the article with Susanna Maidment and send an email to them and ask.
Appreciate it. Yep. I'm surprised no one brought up the world record holder. 550 million years.
What? Didn't sell? Or...
Say again?
World record holder for what?
The world record holder for soft tissue is 550 million years old. They were pretty explicit that there was no secondary mineralization, no permineralization at all. All the fabrics were original carbonaceous material. Everything was, the soft tissue was preserved 550 million years old. When I first read it, I couldn't believe it. That takes some audacity.
That explains the beginning of the show, John, why no one will carbon date this matter. Why there's no go out there on that, because that will.
Yeah, it's not the dating that is the elephant in the room. It's the presence of C14.
I'm not validating carbon dating. Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Am I not validating carbon dating? But yes, the presence of that isotope is impossible over the time period they claim.
Yep.
Where the amount of it, how you make a pseudoscience claim from any kind of reading or an extrapolation. Yeah, no, I'm not meaning that. Exactly that. If there's anything there doesn't fit within their time frame.
Oh yeah, it's over. It's already been done. Jack put the stopper on Mary's findings, but it's been done many times. With soft tissue is now commonplace. Just to let everyone know, they're finding it everywhere. People, I think they found like a squid or something, and they used its own ink. Its ink was preserved, and they painted a picture of it with its own ink. I'll have to track it down. It's been a few years since I saw that one.
Picture of the squid with its own ink.
Yeah, they drew a picture with its own ink. Its ink was still good. You could draw with it. I think it was 150 million years old.
So, how many more impossible things are they going to find?
Oh, it's commonplace chocolate. Yeah, it's everywhere.
So, all these things that debunk their narrative, but we're just going to keep finding it, and we're just going to keep pushing the narrative simultaneously.
Yes, because what happened was Mary was forced into conjuring a witch's brew of soft tissue preservation. Like Adam, we briefly discussed it before. I go into great depth in the Mary Schweitzer presentation at the end and just deconstruct. It's not like I did anything grand because you got numpties. It was so numpty, a fifth grader could tear apart the logic. It was that hilarious. But I did it. I had to do it for the record. It was bad, dude. All right, Creation Bear. How's it going? Did I take you off? I probably did. Sorry about that. I got you off mute.
No problem. Yeah, no, great show, QE. Listening to all these numpty clips got me wanting to run some stairs and do some push-ups for my soundboard. So I did add this one.
Bone. We do this bone. This bone was 68 million years old.
So that one's going to be a classic forever now.
Don't be stealing my clips, man.
You got some good ones, like the
Creation Bear is on point with it, man. I love it.
Oh my gosh, QE, you got me over here wanting to do some push-ups, man.
Yeah, which one did you like besides that one?
The screeching tires is good. I added that one, and the "You've Just Been Erased." I've got that one on hand just in case you come by.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Don, sorry about that guy. There you go. Questions, comments, concerns?
No, as well. I just bought back in. Just listening and trying to learn some new things. That's all.
Outstanding. Hey, shout out to Tony Wickham. Sticks and bones might break my stones, but ballers never hurt me. Perfect, man. Sticks and bones might break my stones. Love it. All right. Flat Earth Data, you already had to go around. Nathan, you back, sir?
I was back. Yeah, just following background noise when you're asking questions. Really.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to continue to go, or you want to take over?
Hey, you carry on.
All right, Neil.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm noisy. Maybe go to somebody else.
All right, sir. Quantum Eraser, you got anything? No. Paul, I put you on mute because you're giving me a whole bunch of background noise, sir. Here you go.
I just don't want to worry about you having a reaction.
Uh-oh, back again. Yeah. Rob, did I get you squared away?
No. Can you hear me? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. You sound good. Yeah, go.
Okay, so I just wanted to go back to the adaptation and evolution just for a second. It dawned on me. I made a startling discovery today.
Uh-oh.
Adaptation seems to already be programmed into us.
That's correct.
That's cool. I never thought of it that way.
It's switch on, switch off, baby. Switch on and off.
So, great show, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a great time here today.
Plastic digestion. Second, Rob, are you just appreciating that information is already present? Is that what you're saying? You've just
yeah.
In terms of that, gone. My brain's gone. Plastic digestion. That's the demonstration that the information or the ability is already there.
Yeah, you're talking about nihilase, right?
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, we already went over that. If any, we're not going to go through that again today. It's a joke. If you go to the evolutionary playlist, you're going to find a bunch of different things. We got whales. We have nihilase. We have the numpty at Michigan with what the heck is his name? Lentz's E. coli. I just ripped that apart step by step. So go there and check it out.
Point being, the cell somehow either randomly developed the correct protease, whatever, the digestive enzyme, to be able to export energy and nutrition from the plastic. It randomly did that over time, or the knowledge was already there, and the mathematical possibility of it randomly doing it is not enough time in the universe, even by their standards.
No, if you want to just go into nihilase a little bit, I think it was Walter Carruthers who created nylon. And if you look at I think it's a hexaminoic acid, if I'm not, I could be mistaken, but it's made from essentially amino acids. So essentially nylon's protein, right? And they were surprised that this bacteria could digest protein. Well, that's what its job is. So what had happened was, I think there was some type of mutation, if I'm not mistaken, in the protease enzyme. It was like bashing a lock in, where the key is in a lock. If you bash that active site right there open a little bit, then many, many more protein moieties can fit inside there. As long as it could fit within inside the active site, then it could be dealt with, right? So it could be hydrolyzed. So that's all that really happened there. It wasn't a big deal. And once you start to dig down just Formica deep, and you have, it doesn't even take a Formica deep understanding. All these things are belly laughers. Then you go back and say, okay, what's evolution? Because that's not it. And Lentz's E. coli, I just seen a special on that too. I think Veritasium did something with Lentz's E. coli. You guys are numpties, man. I think he's on, I can't remember what generation he's on. Oh, by the way, there's still bacteria, right? But that's not the belly laughing part of it. Just go to my evolution playlist and go through. You'll see how I tear apart that Lentz's E. coli. I could do it in my sleep. It's a joke.
Speak to Rob's point, right? Just for anybody who wasn't paying attention. Already do that. Already had the capabilities to bring out how it did it in the short term, and then doing it didn't mean it didn't already have the information base to do that. As you said it right at the beginning, that's its job.
Yes, it gets even more preposterous if you break that down just a little bit. Okay, so you have a mutation, but remember, you have to have mutations in at least two spots. The first spot is where the proteins are made. That's in DNA. That's the instructions for messenger RNA to go make proteins. That's one spot. But you have the meta information. That means who, what, when, where, why, how much, when to stop, start, everything. That information is sometimes located the other side of the country. So what would have to happen for an actual mutation is to mutate the protein making region of DNA, and at the same time mutate the meta information down in Tupelo, Mississippi at the same time, that governs the meta information that does all those things I just talked about. That's how ridiculous this is. But you got crayon munchers, they don't know their ass from a pipe wrench. They talk about mutations, right? If we want to go down that road, then I got a Louisville slugger waiting for you there. I usually don't get that far because the genetics come up and I ask them how they form them naturally, and it's stopped right there. So I don't play that game anymore for the most part.
That's the majesty of the information. We know that there's that relationship. How it works We don't know the encoding. We don't have the programming. We see patterns, don't we? Do you know what I mean? That shows how little we know.
I do know that. Flat Arthur, you're still on mute. How's it going, sir?
All good. Huey.
Everyone's coming in hot today, boy.
I can't believe that I missed this show because I was talking to punks in India on Discord only, but I somehow missed that this show was going on.
You were talking to punks?
Yeah, so just dudes here on Discord talking about flat Earth and everything.
I got you. Yeah, that's okay. You can always go back and re-listen to it. Couple different subjects came up. That's why I like doing them in bunches and camping out, because you get to look at it from multiple different angles. Everyone's got something new to bring up.
Yep, but Nathan was here for a change.
Or Nathan was here for... No, he's always here on Ballbusters, man.
He's usually here in the Ballbusters. I somehow miss all the Ballbusters shows, but otherwise QE Live and all the other shows I catch.
Yeah, QE Live, but Nathan's under contract for Ballbusters.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
And
yep.
If he doesn't if he doesn't show up, Flat Earther, we garnish his wages.
Yep.
Nathan is a.
Yep. I hope his balls are as salty as ever.
Yeah, he's getting rumpus now by everyone. Go ahead, Nathan.
I wasn't saying anything. Go ahead.
Then your mic was feeding back.
So, Nathan, you wouldn't remember, but is the same person from India whom you talked to like 3 years ago. And back then, I wasn't really a full-fledged flat earther, and I was just looking into the subject, and I somehow stumbled upon the flat earth debate, and I joined the conversation. And at that time, I wasn't even sure whether you do these conversations on video or whatever, but I turned on my camera and I was asking other people, why aren't your cameras turned on? And I was the only one in the panel who had his camera. So if you remember, but I don't think you would. It's the same guy. So I'm back with my YouTube channel and everything.
I don't remember it ending badly.
You got a link for your channel?
It's linked on my Discord profile, I think.
All right. Nathan, do you... Hold on, Adam. Hold on, Adam. Nathan, do you remember that or no?
No, it would have stuck in my mind, a chap with an Indian accent, obviously being half Indian. But I remembered it if it ended badly. But I don't remember it, so therefore I can only assume it badly for you on...
No.
Arthur, I remember
I even remember... Yeah, I even remember the conversation we had. So we were talking about all these crazy things and superstitions and astrology, everything other than mainstream science that tells us about. And I gave you example ki I am very sure that these things happened, and you asked me for an example, and I gave you a really shitty example that my grandmother, maternal grandmother, used to see an astrologist, and then a few of the things that she got to hear from the astrologist actually came true in our family. So that's the example I gave you, and I think you were really disappointed with that. Maybe you're expecting a little more than that. So anyways, that was what we had back then.
That's a really detailed description, Flatter. You're a sharp one. Did he put you on mute and then take you back off so he could berate you?
No. Apart from Nathan Oakley, I don't even remember the name of the person. I do remember his face because he was the only one when I said that why isn't everyone showing his face? So he was the only person who actually showed his face and talked to me. Hi, person from India. I am here to show my face.
Yeah, cool, man. Nathan, you have no recollection of that?
I'm sorry, but that's you. And again, half Indian, so all the racist remarks I make when you're on day, loud.
Noted. Thanks, Flat Arthur. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Adam.
Validate Well, I can say I can validate that Nathan is 50% Indian because in Orwin's chat today, I did see him make it up himself. Must be true.
Right.
So hey, Nathan, if you've been getting a few Indian subscribers on your channel, I got to know that you crossed 20K. So please, thanks to me that you're getting all of them. I send many of those Indians to your channel.
Thank you very much.
Arthur, on that,
And
I was going to
I
say,
just shared your channel in Ballbusters too. If anybody wants it.
I was asking
Sorry,
if I was
Adam.
going to stick it in the. I was going to stick it in the YouTube chat, Arthur. If you want to stick it.
Thank you, Chocolate.
I already did it.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we're ready to roll on. Rob, any last questions, concerns, remarks?
No, just that startling discovery about the adaptation genes is pretty cool. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you too, Nathan.
Sure. Do anything, it's all QE.
Sasha.
Oh, no, I watch your show every day, bro. I love it.
Sasha, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Shout out to Brian Maddox.
Nothing to say. Sometimes I only here to support, and my political party is called John and Nathan.
We're a political party.
Yeah, for me, yes.
That's a new one. That's a new twist.
I
man.
know where I'm spending my money, and that's all right.
Slight apology to make. So during a discussion, Bundy, they call Coppo Flakes, asking about clarity on a particular word I was using, obfuscate away from describing fake space, violation of natural pictures thereafter. But get away from that. He was saying, I don't know what Pete. Eventually, Sasha bit on it. I shouted at him, like, shut up! He's just trying to get someone to bite on this, and you have. I'm sorry, Sasha.
All right. And I want to tell you also, Nathan, to hear somebody to tell you, Nathan, find that at home when somebody tell you, find job, You don't need to find job. If you don't need to find job, that's all right, totally, If you have enough with this, what you have now, that's really all right. And I'm so glad that I'm part of that, for example.
I'll say to you what I say to the people who say that, which is, this is my job.
Yeah, great.
I earn a living doing it.
Yeah, and like, for example, Coca-Cola maybe is paying Ronaldo, or whoever, it's paying whoever for something even bigger money. But I'm so, how to say, I'm happy to be part of that, how you're earning money.
Yeah, as are a lot of other people. No way on God's green earth I'd be earning a living from merely YouTube ad revenue. My living is directly because they support me. And while I might make light of it and make jokes when other people who like ask for money via super chats or PayPal or Patreon or whatever, say, what an outrage. Don't forget to smash the super chat. I'm acutely aware that the support I get in the community, what keeps me going and what's keeping my family going, pays the mortgage quite literally. I'm very grateful to the community I've got in that regard because it's as much as I want to be a YouTuber, I'd never forget or don't recognize the fact that it isn't necessarily YouTube that's keeping me running. It's the support that I get from the people like yourself. So hence me apologizing when I've told you off. I know my place.
And I want to add, sorry, John, it's about Nathan again, but the time when I came in your show, it was that somebody said, come into Nathan Oakley show and debunk him. Because I was watching so many other assholes like Red Rhetorics, and I was watching them to realize what is going on. And then I started to watch you, and from the first day I can say, stay like that. And then I understand all your suck my dick and all your cursing, because it was always after the argument. You never attacked the people during the never ever, but people never realize that. Nathan is swearing so much. It's like this. You need to listen. It's very hard to listen to you. you need to listen to at least 2-3 years and to understand what are you.
I
And it's
completely agree. Definitely. The breaking in period, you should listen for at least 2 or 3 years before you make judgment on my character or my show. I agree.
Unbelievable.
I would be. It would be nice to have 1,000 Nathans to pay them to do that what you do. Pay other 999 people or even more to do that, and to not to me other companies like Coca-Cola would be nice to pay somebody like you, and to that you can, not with Coca-Cola, with some with some good company,
This is like a Nathan love fest.
I say thank you for all the compliments, but there is
also QE for you.
No. I don't mind. No. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm saying, if I ever reach some, I'm telling you honestly, if I reach some reach point, you will get my part for sure, both of you.
Well, thanks. That's really damn, Sasha.
I said you are my political party. I know where I'm. I know where I'm putting money in my campaign. People are going on election. People are giving money for their parties. That's their fact. I have my.
Thank you, Sasha. Nathan, do you want to follow up with him?
I want to know if me, Chocolate, and Arwin are in this cut. You're just negotiating on your own.
Where's that trickling down?
Kind of. So, much as thank you very much for all the compliments. I do appreciate it. Nice to get compliments.
Yeah, QE about all presentation at least person who give us presentations, because nobody else opposite didn't give some kind of more presentations on presentation. Nobody. I asked him QE one time, does anybody gave you example of scientific method, any example? And he said to me no, and that for me was okay, that's enough.
But we are starting to see that now, Sasha. So I will say is go forth, share the shows.
But I was asking Nathan for the boiling water,
I'm not speaking to you
I was
specifically.
asking for anything and QE gave 10 examples of that in one presentation. I don't remember now. He knows for sure which one it is. He has a lot of them. But for sure he has one presentation where he presents 10 examples of scientific method. Nobody in your show, nobody in QE show, nobody on the after show, never ever presents any kind of scientific method for even boiling water, that I'm saying.
The fact that people are out there now actually trying to challenge people to use things like scientific evidence for their claims, the direct consequence of Adam like that actually trying to educate an audience. The problem we face is that don't get shared with the wider audience by the platform, in this case you. Now, that's not necessarily just true by way of social perception of flat earth in general. We don't get promoted. However, the result of QE banging the same drum again and again and again with a consistent beat, someone else has picked up one of the sticks next to him and started banging a similar drum, a complementary beat. You can say that's me, you can say that's Adam, you can say it's Owen. The point is that you have to say this stuff, repeat, people to actually have it sink in. And as a direct consequence, I do see you're hoping for. Like, well, I would hope there was 100 more Nathans. You said, well, starting to happen. I'm starting to see. I'd position it differently. I'd say 100 QEs, but whatever. That are out there that are asking the right question, not just because they've heard it and repeated it, because they appreciate the implication of the arguments, because they've listened to shows like Flat Earth Debate and Ballbusters and QE live shows and Adam and Arwin. So it's only by expanding out the audience that you'll get your 100 Nathans. In other words, people who listen, understand the arguments that are being put across and why they're working, then ignore the fifth circle jerk rendition of the same exact argument by somebody to the point where I get frustrated and start swearing at them. Not part of the discussion that you hear in the first part. 99, I'm going to say 100% of the time, in fact. will always get the argument first and the reason behind the logical inconsistency presented. Direct result of QE's tenacity, the ability to not see dropping anchor as something mundane, something advantageous, be repetitive and go through the same things over and over again, the same enthusiasm and joy to spark that enthusiasm and joy into a listener and infuse them with the actual knowledge of why they're arguing the point rather than just repeating it. I'm not going to detail the the Spurs chemo situation with science and him waving that chainsaw around, not really knowing what he was doing 5 years ago or however long it was. That's how it was several years ago. Now I randomly tune into someone else's show where they've got a debate going on. I hear people asking those questions. I still hear them getting shut down and fundy muted by the opposition. It makes me smile that they know why they're asking that question and why they've got the result that they've got when they've asked it. They know the argument now because they've probably heard it 10 or 15 times. That's how you get your 100 Nathans. Share the show is what I'm trying to drive at. Expanding that out to more people, how you get more people listening. And one of those people might turn into that guy that says, I understand how this logical debate actually structures itself in favour of the Earth being obviously and observably how I see it, rather than the globe in this model that's been reified by these fundies who shut me down when I try and point that out. That just takes sharing the show. It just takes exposure. Genuinely now grassroots flat Earth, that is. I want to put it as a collective. It's how big you want to be. I don't care about this, by the way. It's just appealing to people who do. You want flat Earth to grow, you've got to share everything that you find that is useful. I'm going to directly say that's me. Share QE, share Adam, share Arwin. Expanding out these channels and other channels that I promote and put links to and adverts to directly because no one else is doing that. No one else is sharing our stuff. It's down to you to click the share button. And in most cases, especially on really easy to do beyond the social troubles that it might cause when you click the share button and stick it on Facebook. Getting past that with people, it's not getting past the difficulty of actually pressing share. That's really easy. It's made easy. It helps you. Well, the end of the help that you might get from people who might just come along randomly to share your show is non-existent for us. Down to us to promote ourselves as a grassroots movement if you want to see us that way. I'm very, very selfish in that regard. I'm just going to tell you to share my show, God QE, Adam and Arwin.
I share the QE channel. You want to know where? You will never believe me. On the Facebook, I was searching for the Nobel Prize awarded people and whatever I could find in any kind of Nobel Prize, and I was sending them in the comments on there somewhere. I was sending quiz channel, hoping that somebody will watch.
That's good because it's hard. It's hard to find good information. I obviously believe in what I'm putting out there, and so does Quantum Eraser and everyone else on this panel. So we are behind our own work and encourage our audience to share it because we know it's good. Know the arguments win. That's why we're telling you to share it. Well, you've got to get past the fact that your family might say, I don't agree with this stuff. You're going to have to go through all that stuff, and that's what most people will consider when they're umming and ahhing about whether or not they're going to press the share button. By the same token, they're going to be the exact same people, maybe it was 5 years ago, saying, why aren't we growing enough? Like I say, I've reached the point where I'm like, really fuss me how society takes this. Don't appeal to consensus in terms of any arguments for flat Earth, so it's not that much use to me. And it doesn't really, with any mental pain, that a movement that isn't going somewhere and everyone will know it's flat eventually, really doesn't bother me. And that's, I don't know if people don't like that or not. It's how it is for me. I do know that there are people out there that want to see the movement, the idea, the notion, more people behind it to give them comfort. While I don't see the need, and I would rather appeal to them in terms of self-improvement in that regard, I know that's still something that's very prevalent. Want that, if you're that guy, way to get it is to share every one of the decent shows that actually gives you insight that will help you progress an argument if you're having one. And you have to chew the meat and spit out the bones, and I would hope that stuff that's left being chewed is our stuff. It's getting shared, and we are growing. Quantum Eraser's certainly growing. Arwin, bloody hell, 40 people. There must be 40 people in this audience right now that can go and subscribe to Arwin. Getting to 2K. Been in the same position forever. And as much as I keep shouting him out, there's only going to be a certain amount of people that are going to into my live shout outs for Arwen and go and do it. And they've probably already done it now. I've saturated my audience. And it frustrates me because I want to see the people around me grow. I know they're not getting promotion. Any other person, Arwen, I'm talking now, he did a live show every single day, naturally get a certain amount of growth just by doing it. But Arwen doesn't see that, and it frustrates me, annoys me. I know why, but I know the solution. Also, there's a problem out there within the community that I don't necessarily say I'm associated with, can be solved with that mind. Just to say, you want to seed growth? Then grow. Plant more seeds. Seeds are shares. Go and plant them.
Hey, there's an inquiry questioning this from Rakia Life. He said, how much did y'all pay that guy to say that about Nathan? Laughing out loud. Bones, bones, bones. Rakia Life.
Technically, he paid us.
Can I add only one more thing?
Quickly, quickly, listen up. Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. Quickly.
Quickly, listen. Why would they lie? That was always question. Why would they lie? But I was looking for other angles. Why would Nathan fucking lie? And that was like a put on the scale. And who will lie? NASA or Nathan? And I decided it's NASA. It could not be Nathan. That's it.
Thanks.
Mary would want to lie. Protect their own interests. Why? Well, not earning 52 million a day to pay to create CGI. No, I scrape by with the community efforts that I get in terms of their contribution. No, I don't drive a Lamborghini as a result of what I talk about. And if anybody doesn't learn anything from recent transition by Ranty Flat Earth to Globe, him literally telling you, doing it because there's more money to be earned being Flat Earth than promoting it. Simple fact. Well, that Ranty's done that, people can appreciate that, yeah, we are in a position where we do this for the passion of it and because we don't like the mental pain that comes along with lying about something when you realise the obvious nature of your reality.
Can I add to that, please, Nathan? Can I add to that, please?
Getting really frustrated, and I'm literally dragging out his show while Wingies are waiting for him, but go ahead.
Oh, you can gain the whole world at the cost of your soul, Ranty Flat Earth. You're a piece of shit.
No need. His choices are his own, and his problem, not yours. So go in peace, right? Don't worry. Don't concern yourself with Ranty. What if it brings you comfort to know that he'll burn in hell because he's now lying about a fundamental reality you already knew about? Then that's on you. You don't need to worry about it. Don't concern yourself with it. I just use it as an example so that when people talk about only in it for the money of Flat Earth, it's like, no, I can earn a living because there's enough people out there that are good enough, like Sasha, and you, Rob, for that matter, are good enough to say, I want to support this person because I also want to hear that truth in broadcast. Simple as that. That's good enough for me. No, I'm not going to make a millionaire doing it, unless if I did. And if I transitioned, as Ranty has in this example, I would see that as selling my soul. Some people, they don't care. It's not going to affect them. He's not going to worry about burning in hell for this. If that's what you're thinking, Rob. He's not. I would. I couldn't do it. It would torment me to death. It really would.
All right, we're going to continue on down the line. Make it quick, guys. All right, because Wingy.
Sorry, John.
It's okay, but go. You want to rumpus me again? Go ahead.
Me, should we get Shines to pass on his words if he's got any Shines? Did you have anything to add?
Me? My Wi-Fi went out. So no, I have to re-listen to the whole show over again. But you guys are awesome, and what I did catch on was amazing. So yeah, I'm going to go back through and listen to it again, all over.
Thanks,
Shines. We can wait while you do that. We'll keep the show running while you do that if you like.
I would appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time.
Let's put through your opinion. So I'll just hold the show indefinitely while you listen back for a few hours.
Amazing. Thank you, Nathan.
Let's try to keep it quick. Flat Al, I seen you up there. Make it quick, sir. That was really quick. I appreciate that. Adam Meakin. Go ahead, Nathan.
On FE, had anything?
Nope, he's
What?
too shy.
That's everybody.
We didn't get Arwen and Chocolate's final thoughts and Adams, and then you can take us home.
Yo, yes. Yeah, thank you, Nathan, for the reminder of people who subscribe to me. I have actually gained some subscribers in the last few weeks, surprisingly. Kind of went up to 20 added. Not the 2,000 yet, just yet, but who knows. But I really appreciate the put into it. Yeah, great show today. Fun. And yeah, Nathan, everybody knows by now by just the level of energy you put into done with the flat earth debate. If you'd ever switch like Ranty, you know you'd be sucking
Jeez.
Chocolate, go ahead. You Owen.
Yeah, it was a good presentation, man. That was probably one of my favorite numpty clips. Just like, on top of just the subject matter, your editing is getting off the chain a little bit. I like what you're doing, John. So that's cool.
Hey, Chocolate, stay tuned for the numpty clips, man. There's going to be more signature series coming out there. Everyone listening, just hold on.
Signature series.
Yeah, that's right. There's going to be a signature series. Yes, we already got one in there. There's more to come. Thanks, man.
Very cool. Yeah, and I don't promote myself very much, but I have some music on my channel. Flat Earth music, Flat Earth hip hop. Be more specific. If anybody's interested, check my channel out. I got some rap music for you, so hope you like it.
Appreciate it, Chocolate.
Go. Adam, I've got a clip that I want you to. That I'll trim out for you and give to your sound effects. Jackass, like this wig on that's like a bowl cut. That some guy's fairly mundane 1980s sedan talking to, like, look at that, look at that, look at that, and it's a phrase that you look at that. Every time I hear it, I hear the guy from Jackass saying it. So trim it out and give it. Adam.
Nathan, you heard that guy selling the car? Or he's selling a car looking at the car? Is that the one you're talking about?
Selling it, yeah, something like that. He's
Yeah.
Looking around.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's funny. To look at that part of the clip is just memorable. Hey, Adam, go ahead.
I've got two responses. Q, it's up to you. Got the long summary, which causes a cooling of, serious entropy, the wing is, or got a channel shout out.
Channel shout out.
Okay. This is actually, I've been devoid of my own channel. I've got a channel, the Adam Making, but obviously everything I did was on Iron Realm. Been devoid of something, and I didn't want to just start on there. So I could be so bold as I've done a new channel. I've done a little bit of work for it. The channel's there. Posted it now. I do need to ask a favour. First of all, the channel's called What is the World? Presumptuous. So you can imagine the opening title I want. I suppose formally on air, I'm asking Chocolate. Could I please use your badass rap song?
First, man. Use whatever you want.
Yeah. So that's it. I've kind of done that. And
Faded that into a request to Chocolate, right? What Adam's saying is, created a new channel, put the link in the live stream chat, which is going by now. I'm your first subscriber. Click on that link and go and subscribe to What is the World, which is the name of Adam's channel that he's made. Subscribe to it. I'm the only subscriber currently, but he's asking you to go and subscribe today. Do the link he's put in the chat. Just make it absolutely abundantly clear what you're being asked to do as an audience member. go and to subscribe to what, is the, in capital letters, lowercase w, uppercase O, lowercase r, l, d. Terrible. What the fuck that is. Adam.
Yeah.
Wet.
There's layers to that, and maybe I'll bore you someday. But thank you for your candour in advertising that. Like I said, all I'm planning there, it's not necessarily chat. It's hijacking bits and bobs to make a point. Hopefully, I'll have a third one out before the end of the weekend. At least I'll have one subscriber.
And I'm honored that you would use that title, Adam. Thank you.
All right. Hey, before you guys go, let me shout out these super chats. Unitox Femu Sasha again. In that name, yes, Ranty needs food. It will not be in the supermarket. I will give you food, Ranty. And Retro Bill, thanks, man. The FE argument has advanced greatly since Nathan invented the begging the question fallacy. Yeah, that's all I got.
Adam. Trying to cut Adam off a little bit. Do you want to add anything else, Adam? Tell people to subscribe to What is the World?
Oh, that's it. If you would kind of do so, I'd appreciate it. There's a little link in there on the first show saying I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. So that'd be amazing if I could do that. Hopefully, I think too contentious. Just kind of my view. I'm seeing just show. Yeah. Hopefully, as you're saying, supporting people. We are in our resources. There's a more coherent message. Sometimes I've used Brian first step. Really strengthens my argument. Detail that I couldn't. Great to have that non-community, as you describe it, out there.
Just good people doing good things for others they want to support. To James Mays, guys are all aces. Great work, very much indeed, Mays. But I'm going to leave that as an opportunity to round out unless QE cuts me off now.
Negative. Take us home, sir.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you first and foremost to the live audience tuning in, smashing the super chat, Patreon, and all that good stuff. Currently got a Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show running on Nathan Oakley channel, which is my second channel. I've put a link in the live stream chat currently on Ballbusters. Watching this on a re-up, there'll undoubtedly be a brand new Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show going out after the a massive thank you to the channel from the live stream chat for making the public interaction part of this possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and we will see you all in the next ball.